let's see, MOSY. MOSY could go on some nice big attention as well. PULM's not doing anything. MOSY, this is a bull flag pattern. Again, very nice bull flag pattern. Does have a top right around that 180 mark on MOSY. So guys, turn your attention over to MOSY. If this stock breaks up to that one, let's say maybe even through 175, this stock could go on a very nice climb all the way up towards around $2. Stop loss, let's look at around probably like 168. So MOSY, also CLNT starting to get a little bit of activity towards it. So MOSY, I want you guys to be watching for sure. CLNT also slowly starting to move on up. NURO starting to lose it a little bit. CLNT could take the heat. It does have a 19-cent spread right now, CLNT. If CLNT, watch for the 525 break. So 525 break, look up towards around 540. Stop loss is going to be down towards around 514 if that stock broke. So you have MOSY and CLNT, two stocks you want to be watching right now. So again, these are two stocks you want to be watching at the moment. Guys, start on smaller position sizes if they do break out. If they do break out, we're going to start on smaller position sizes. Again, they haven't hit the main target yet. Again, MOSY, this is a stock that's up on the mid-candle breakout patterns. It has a bull flag towards it, as you guys could see right here. And there is a tension moving in over towards MOSY right now. So MOSY now is on alert. MOSY is now on alert if you want to look for a smaller position. CLNT is also moving on up right now. CLNT is also moving on up. Two of these stocks both have big-time potential to continue to move on up, continue to climb. Right now, MOSY is getting the volume towards it. It is getting the volume at the moment. This is going on a bull flag. We are at the make or break though right here at 180, 185 on MOSY. This is the make or break on this play right here, as we are looking for the stock to continue to move on up. Now we're in the 190s. Nice place to start locking up something. Nice place to start locking up something up in these 190s, guys, on MOSY. It doesn't have to be everything, but I would suggest I'm going to put an alert to just lock up, at 190, at least something, so you guys are being smart. But MOSY, good job so far to really just lock in some quick, easy profit. Now, again, I do think the stock could continue to move on up. It does look like it wants to bring in volume. It does look like it wants to bring in hype. This is a beautiful, beautiful chart pattern, and MOSY, this is where all eyes should be. So you guys, right now, we do have 190 resistance on MOSY. We need to break out. We need to break out of that, but there's $2 right up to 199. So again, there's your first area where you can look to lock in. First area right here, right at $2, 199. Great area to start locking in something. Again, doesn't have to be everything. That is up to you, of course. But so far, we are set, ready to rock and roll. MOSY, nice hype, 2 for 2 on MOSY so far today, right up to that high of $2. Now, again, we might see some sort of pullback, but this is where you guys want to be at. This is the stock you guys want to focus on, and this is what I'm talking about. Kicking off this day nice. There's the $2 mark, and let's get that $2 break. So we're kicking off on this bull flag, guys, still continuing to move on up, and I hope you guys are absolutely destroying it. I hope you guys are absolutely banking off it. CLNT, take it off your watch list right now. Take off everything else off your watch list. MOSY is where you want to be. This is the party. This is the fiasco. This is the fiesta. And this is where you guys want to be making your money right now. So keep holding on. You guys are good to go. As you guys can see, sending this out in our morning newsletter. Every single person should have gotten our morning newsletter today. And again, our morning newsletter is chart setups, MOSY, bull flag pattern on the daily. These patterns get me very excited, as we can see very nice spikes. Main resistance is 175, break of this mark on the slow float, and a 63 on the RSI. We could definitely see a very nice rip. So I'm looking forward to a nice climb. And again, we do not have a 200-day moving average until 359. And that's why MOSY is going to continue to move on up, continue to get a nice climb, and we could see this bad boy ripping all day. So this is a bull flag pattern. Our custom scanners also caught it right here on MOSY. And guys, look at this thing continuing to move. Now, this is how we kick off our Tuesday. Another solid day in the books already. We're 6 minutes in so far, and I hope you guys are just absolutely destroying it right now. So awesome, awesome work so far today. Now, we haven't had any sort of pullback yet. But MOSY, I could imagine the stock going on a very big climb over these next few days, guys. So 7 minutes into the market, and MOSY so far has been the beast of a play we have been looking for. And again, I hope you guys have just been absolutely killing it. Very, very happy for you traders. Very, very happy. Again, we are currently up. Let's look MOSY. We are currently up at a 73 on the RSI. 73 on the RSI. We are having our first little pullback. Guys, look for a $2 bounce play. $2 bounce would be your next area. Again, MOSY, looking at the chart. Looking at the chart, we have 73 on the RSI. 73 on the RSI. A very nice rip as we broke through this bottom support platform, and now we're continuing to climb. So now we're looking to see what is going to be moving. We do have 208, 209 support, and then we also have $2 support. But this is where bounce play opportunities would be at around 208, 209 if you guys want to look for that. But so far, it was a very nice rip and a very nice climb. But again, we could easily be seeing around that 208, 209. We got up to a high around 230. But so far, we are going to have some sort of pullback. So if you guys are looking for a bounce play, it's going to be either at 209. It's going to be either a 209 or it's going to be at $2. So those are your bounce play potentials. MOSY, this thing could go on its next leg on up at any moment. I think we're going to see a couple more consolidation rounds. It looks like it wants to set itself up in a bull flag. So you can see we are building slightly higher lows right here on CLNT. And then we are going to be, let me put this bull flag because you can also see it is building a little bit of lower lows from the top end, which is going to lead to some sort of squeeze. Now, when we break that possible squeeze, that's when we start getting some more activity, kind of like what it's trying to do right now on MOSY. So again, it's trying to get that squeeze going. Quick little upper shadow at the top. Most likely it's going to fall back down towards around this 215, 214 mark right here on MOSY. But after a long upper shadow like this, sometimes we do see some nice cracks. So let's see what's going to be happening. It might come down to $2. It may look to come down towards this $2 mark before it gets some nice activity back towards it again. We do have this upper shadow right here at $2, which would hold it as some sort of support. CLNT starting to make a little bit of a move back on up towards around this 525 mark on CLNT. Now, again, this is going to be a little tougher of a play. That's a little bit up to you if you really want to go after this play on CLNT, because, again, it's a little bit lighter on volume. There's about a, 14-cent spread, so it's not the easiest play in the world, but CLNT bottom corner right here, guys. Since MOSY is losing volume, CLNT is gaining volume because it's coming up towards around that 525 mark. And guys, we did just break 525, and we are starting to move right here on CLNT. So CLNT so far did just go on to basically a huge shoot on up right through 525, now at 440 or 545. So CLNT right now is bringing the volume from this U-shaped pattern. So this is a very low float stock at a 532,000 in float. And this is where the stock is continuing to move. Now, I know it did just break probably like 520 and then gapped up towards around that 530 mark. Then it came down to 520, then moved up towards around 540, hit a high right next to the 550. So CLNT, I know it's a little wild, but still, it's a very predictable play still from what we talked about this morning. CLNT came out with a press release. It came out with very good volume with a very low float. It came out with a great press release as a very low float. The stock has a great chart pattern. It only has around a 40 on the RSI. The stock can continue to move on up, especially with this chart pattern that it has. And what I mean by that is that it has some sort of squeeze going on. This trend line is trying to build. This trend line is trying to hold right here, as you guys could see, and we are looking for kind of this break, the break above 550. If we can break above 550 right here on CLNT, this is where things can really spice up very, very quickly. But you could see, it's like, where do we buy? Do we buy on this break of 550, maybe a pullback and then a break of 550? Because it's not 100% there yet, because you can see how choppy it gets. But CLNT, it is looking for that break right now, and I do think if the stock does run, we could see a lot of activity. So 555, I'm putting on a buy alert up towards 570. Stop loss, you could look down towards around 540 right here. There's 555. So CLNT, I think you could definitely see the stock continue to move because we are getting a nice big run. We are getting a nice big rip. So absolutely just nailed Mosey. Now we're going over to CLNT. Now this stock is ripping. and 575 natural resistance mark, guys. 575 natural resistance mark. Still moving on up right here. As I said, it's a little bit larger of a spread, but these are the two stocks we have been focusing on. This is, the twins right here. We have MOSY getting some nice activity, but right now, as MOSY died, CLNT is moving on up. Now, how crazy is this, guys? How predictable is this? How funny is this that this is how the mob works? Notice how MOSY, I'm going to show you guys this in a second. Let's just see if CLNT is going to do anything right here before, I want to kind of take a second to show you guys. I want to see if CLNT is going to be able to break 575 on a consistent level or not. Guys, we're just going full on beast mode right here. Our alerts so far today, again, we had MOSY 178, CLNT 525, CLNT 555. So we are just absolutely killing it. And I am so excited, so excited for all the traders who profited today. Nothing gets me more fired up than seeing you guys make money. That's what I love. That's why I'm here, to see you guys profit, to see you guys make money. So right now we are having a little bit of a pullback because 575 is a natural resistance line. So what did I want to show you guys? I wanted to show you guys how the mob worked. How funny is this that the mob works? So if we look back at MOSY, MOSY goes on a nice rip from 9:30 in the morning all the way up towards 2:33. Now at all the way up towards around 2:33, and that goes towards around what time? Probably 9:36, but the mob and the volume stays until around 9:40 because it still has potential. This last long upper shadow stays until around 9:40. Now, right at 9:40, what happens? Let's go over to CLNT. So nothing. Right here at 9:40, look what starts happening. At 9:42, this volume started pushing on up because of the plain fact MOSY started coming on down. So right when MOSY started coming on down at 9:40, 9:41, this stock starts falling on down. People say, oh, this stock's falling on down. I want to go to something more hot. Then everyone starts moving over to CLNT. Since everyone moved over to CLNT, now this stock is bringing in the hot volume, and that's why MOSY is falling down. It's like a seesaw, guys. Wherever the hot volume is going to go, the other stock's going to fall down. Now, if CLNT starts falling on down, we might have to watch MOSY as that activity might start moving back on up again. So it's really just finding, where the mob's going to be heading. That seesaw pattern, noticing, okay, you know what? Nothing's going on with CLNT right now, because all the activity is over in MOSY. Okay, MOSY is dumping right here. All activity is going over to CLNT, and it works out perfectly, within the minute. CLNT, nothing until 9:41. We start getting volume. MOSY has everything until it crashes at 9:41, and then it starts moving on down, and that's when the mob says, hey, I want to play a stock that ripped. So they move over here, and that's when this stock gets pushed on up. MOSY is starting to come back on up. Now, MOSY is starting to get some volume towards it. And notice this. Notice how as CLNT starts losing volume, MOSY starts gaining it. And now this is really just back and forth mob style right here. As look what just happens right here. CLNT, you can see it's losing volume. So CLNT is slightly losing volume. Now look what's happening. MOSY is starting to gain volume. I'll take a look over in Profits Chat, see what we have going on right here in Profits Chat. And I want to see you guys load it up. What we have, MOSY, Wolf, going $198. Digitech, $320. 710 Columbia, $600. Crimson Tide, $65. Alejandro going in, making just about $200. Astari going in at $171 out of $220. That is bank. Kev, $1,800. The Banker, $210. Awesome job. Trader at Night, $300. Savik, $410. Daniel going $535. The list just keeps on going, guys. Brandon, $150. Kev over $500. Phil at $70. Noah, $161. Very happy for all you guys that are making money right now. MD 36, $280. Jorge, $84. $123. Davey SY, $880. Tim, $100. Ricavano, $650. Awesome work. So CLNT, again, I still think there's some big time potential right here for this play. And if you want to look for another possible entry, a smaller entry, I think that break's coming soon. I think this break is coming very soon. So if you want to look for this possible play on CLNT on a smaller scale, I would start a little bit smaller positions, but I do think that break is coming soon on CLNT. It's kind of, slowly building up. It's building up right at the highs right here. And here we go. We are starting to get this nice move, and it looked like it was building. It speaks to me. Now, again, I really want you guys to focus on this because it's not what you want to do as a trader. It's not about you. If you go in head on against the market, you're going to lose. So it's not saying, what am I going to do today? It's figuring out what everyone else is going to do in the market. 90% of people in the market lose. And why is that? That is because they chase stocks. They just follow. They don't have a personal opinion for themselves. They are just going to chase what everyone else is chasing. They are just going to be trying to, hop in on any sort of movement. Sometimes they're going to hit it. Other times they're going to get absolutely destroyed. Most of the time they're going to get destroyed. That is why we do not play in the mob. We get in before the mob, and that's how we make our money, guys. So what happened again? MOSY, beautiful rip. Started off right here at 930. 930 went from 150 all the way up towards 936 where it was at 233. Now we have our areas of consolidation. We have our areas of consolidation. What do we see as traders? We see that this stock is building some higher low patterns. So we have higher low, lower shadow right here at 209, lower shadow at 211, lower shadow at 215, lower shadow at 214. So we're saying to ourselves, okay, we're building higher lows. But then this long upper shadow, guys, long upper shadows indicate trend reversals. We all know that. That's what I teach you guys. If you guys don't know that, make sure you guys go get into the video library. That is so important that you guys understand that once you understand, different candlesticks that are going to lead to very easy indicators, you guys will get to really predict the market a lot more. So make sure you guys go through all our lessons. Again, 24 hours of video lessons. And what you want to look for is going to be our candlestick lesson. And that will be showing you guys how to predict different candles to say to yourself, hey, what is this stock going to be doing? So here's our candlestick lesson. Make sure you guys go ahead and check that out. It's probably about a 20-minute lesson if I had to take a gander at it. 19-minute lesson. So 19-minute lesson right there. So make sure you guys go check that out. But notice right here, we have our nice last rip, our last chance rip saying MOSY, we'll give you one last chance. We got stuffed at 235. We got stuffed at 235. Now let's give you one last chance. Traders saying, hey, if you don't break out here, we're dropping you. And that's where the stock goes on up, and traders say, hey, you know what, I don't think it's going to happen. They get dropped. They get dropped. They get dropped. Because traders are what move stocks, guys. The stock market doesn't move stocks. There's not some random outside force that we can't control that moves stocks. People move stocks. You understand people, you understand the market, you predict the market, you profit off the market. So this was our last chance at 941. Then at 942, it cracks underneath the trend line saying, okay, you know what, this stock is now bearish. It's not worth our time. Then we go over at CLNT. Stock's doing nothing. Stock's not really doing too much. It goes on up a little bit, comes on down, drops all the way down to 460. But look at right at 941, 942, that's when we go on our nice rip. CLNT had a great press release this morning. We talked about this play this morning about how low of a float it was at 532,000. We had MOSY and CLLT both as very hot stocks to keep our eyes on this morning. MOSY started with the volume right when volume died off. What happened? The mob, they're greedy people, guys. The mob just wants to make money. The mob will chase anything that has any sort of momentum. So what do we have? CLNT, that 525 buy alert since the start of the day. And right when it came up to the 525 buy alert, it just absolutely broke through, ran all the way up to $6. But notice how it happened right at 941, right at 942. So a lot of the times, if you missed this morning breakout, that's okay. If you missed that morning breakout, that's okay. Just make sure you guys understand that when this stock starts fading, something else is going to take its place because the mob wants to trade. The mob wants to make money. They want to push these stocks on up. So right when one stock starts fading off right here, that's when another stock's going to take its place, and that's what you want to be ready for. Now, CLNT this morning, it did have a larger spread. So we did have a 525 buy alert, but right when it broke 521, it did gap up towards around 530. It did come back down to 520 about 2 seconds later, but then started moving back up towards around 528, then came down towards around 525, and then went to its explosion. So you guys did have a lot of opportunity to get into these plays. You guys did have opportunity to go on these nice rips and to get this very nice climb. And that was all from 515 straight up to $6. So CLNT, again, you want to see another mob shift. Well, we have CLNT start coming on down right here. So we have CLNT start coming down 950, then not too much at around 955. We have our nice rip and it starts fading. Now look at MOSY. MOSY, look at 950 right here at 950, 952, 953, 954. Now we go on a nice big rip because you know why? CLNT already went on its rip. Now 950, we have these strong red candles. It drops all the way back down from $6 all the way back down to $5.45. The mob, they're saying, hey, CLNT's done. Everyone, party's back over here. Party's on. Woo! You know, MOSY, let's go back up towards 950, and then we start moving back over here. And then after this now that we're about 45 minutes into the market, things are just kind of getting a little bit, you know, some people want to be over here, some people want to go over there, some people, you know, already partied too much and now they're passed out on the floor, so they're not even trading anymore. So, you know, basically that's what you have to think as it. Is that MOSY started with it, then dropped. Right when it dropped, CLNT brought it in. Now, once CLNT started to drop, MOSY had it bring on back. And that's what you guys have to notice. You know, it's just one big group of herds of people saying, hey, I want to make money here. It's just one big group of a herd of people saying, I'm greedy, I want to make money, I'm going to chase anything that moves. And once something dies off, I'm going to try to push something back on up. And that's what I, you know, classify it as in my head. That's what I think of about it as. And I think it's a very easy way for you guys to make money if you just think about it as one big group of people, the mob, that they're going to just be shifting from stock to stock, looking for the hottest play, and they're just going to be pushing up those profits. But if we get in before the mob, just like, you know, MOSY, just like CLNT, again, MOSY this morning, buy alert on a very nice play right here, right at 178. So right at 178, bada boom, nice big rip on up. We had on MOSY 2 alerts, and again, a sell target at $2, and then as you could see, ripped all the way up towards around 235. CLNT buy alert was at 525 on CLNT. First buy alert was at 525, which is, as you guys can see right here. Then our next buy alert on CLNT was 555. And then next buy alert was 575, you know, all for that run up towards $6. So, you know, we have been absolutely on fire, destroying it right now, and I'm absolutely pumped for you guys. So awesome work so far today, team. I do want to go into a recap on why these stocks broke off the way they did. You know, I definitely want you guys to understand, you know, why these stocks broke off the way they did. So I actually just want to get into this right now. CLNT, if you guys are looking for a bounce play opportunity, right now would be your opportunity on CLNT. If you guys want to look for a bounce play opportunity right here at around 515, this would be your best bet. Little side note, MOSY starting to bring in a little bit more volume. So let's actually turn back to this bad boy over here, is that CLNT is starting to bring in some more activity towards this play. So we are back in business on MOSY right here. It is a little scary though. It is a little scary. We basically have this we have one test, two tests. Now we're trying to get this third test right here, but it looks like it's going to get it. So let's see what we have right here on MOSY, now hitting the high of the day. So the recap's going to have to wait. The recap's going to have to wait a little bit. But let's see what MOSY has in store for us. Now again, MOSY, if we look at www.stockcharts.com, we do have room to run all the way up towards the 200-day moving average. We do have room to run all the way up towards the 200-day moving average at 356. We are at a 75 on the RSI, which does consider us overbought though. And look at this, MOSY guys. Notice how, what time does it start picking up volume? What time does it start picking up volume? 10:11. Let's compare that to CLNT. And let's go to just 10:11. 10:11. This is when the stock starts dropping on off. It actually started really dropping off at what, 10:05, 10:05, 10:07, then just drops all the way off to 10:17. So let's look at around 10:05 on MOSY. Look at this, right around 10:05 right here. This is the bottom, and then starts moving on up, and we start getting a very nice climb. So another mob shift on the day. Let's go over a recap on these plays. Let's go over a recap on these plays, guys, and let's talk about why these plays went on a nice rip, why these plays went on a nice spike. Again, everything in the penny stock market, guys, is predictable if you guys can break it down to that level, and all you guys should be able to break it down with that level. So let's go over each one of these, and let's talk about, okay, why did the stock rip? Why did the stock take on off? How did we find this play? Again, we usually do this at around 11 o'clock, but I want to probably get into lessons more around 11 o'clock. So let's go into this nice recap, and let's see what we have going going on. So let's start with MOSY. MOSY, what was working here? So let's go into our news scanner and let's just type in MOSY. Do we have anything? May 16th was the last press release that came out on MOSY. So obviously this rip right here isn't from, May 16th's press release. We don't have any sort of press release, and that's how you look at credibility. You look at press releases, or what's next? Chart pattern. So what do we have right here, guys? What chart pattern setup is right here, where we have a nice big rip, we have a red day, then we have a green day, and then we start bringing back on up. Mid candle breakout pattern, or this even looks like a little bit of a bull flag. I will give you even a bull flag as well. So again, mid candle breakout pattern comes up on our custom scanner right here. So we have that all set, ready to rock and roll. We were watching this from the start of the day. Nice low float, as you guys can see, dark blue stock. Notice how a nice low float stocks. So we have dark blue right here, dark blue right here. These are the two stocks that went on the biggest rip. So it's always good to look at these nice low floats. Our biggest two rips today went on, again, very nice climbs, which both have very low floats, 532,000 and then also 5 million. So again, two of the lowest float stocks on the board also went on some of the two biggest rips. So that's very important to kind of start off with, just noticing a little bit of a fun fact to kind of put that into your criteria. Always have some nice low floats. So looking at MOSY, we do have this nice bull flag pattern, and then we went on this nice big climb. It really comes down to simple enough, guys, just understanding and realizing this bull flag pattern. When you can see this bull flag pattern and you can understand the bull flag pattern, you guys will be able to make some very, very easy cash. And that's why it's so important to me. Now, if you guys need to see some examples of some bull flags, I always like to show you guys, bull flag examples, JVA, nice big climb right here, consolidates a little bit, building higher lows, also building lower lows, which forms a triangle, squeezing the stock onto a very nice rip. And that's exactly what we have. This is on the 1 minute chart, but just carry this over to the daily chart. Look at it. If we just make it, basically just look straight up, kind of the same thing. Nice big rip, red candle, green candle, consolidates, and we get our nice big climb. This is more, these are on the 1 minute chart as well, MOSY, nice big rip, consolidates, then we get our next leg on up. This is on the 1 minute chart, but it's basically identical to what we're seeing on the daily chart. It's just these nice bull flag patterns that are just going to lead to some very easy cash. Now, again, if you said mid candle breakout pattern, that would be acceptable as well, because we did have our nice initial green day. Red candle did come down to the initial spike right here, and then we start getting a very nice climb. We then start getting that nice big rip. So I would accept as well if you guys stated, okay, we have a mid candle breakout pattern. Now, again, make sure you guys get into the video library so you guys can, of course, check out and learn a lot more about the mid candle breakout pattern. I will also show you guys some examples on the mid candle breakout pattern as well. And again, these examples on the mid candle breakout pattern are going to be just like this, where we have initial breakout, red candle, then we start moving on up. So notice, guys, very similar pattern, nice big green candle, candle, red candle comes down to the initial spike, then we start getting our activity back on up. You can see a little bit different here, but two green days. Red candle comes down to the initial spike, then we start moving back on up. Green candle, red candle, start moving back up. So we have green candle, red candle, then start moving back on up. Same exact thing right here. And you guys can just see, some nice examples of these mid candle breakout patterns and how important they are. So MOSY, this didn't have any sort of press release towards it that made it go, whoa, we need the stock to, we didn't have any sort of press release on this where we're like, whoa, this stock is going to absolutely fly. It was more of a sneaky little stock, a little sneaky stock, just because of the plain fact that it didn't have that initial, huge gap up. It didn't have that initial positive phase 3 trials that everyone likes to look at. It had a little gap up, which is nice, and then it just took off right at the start of the bell from 160 all the way up towards 232. Now, why was our buy alert right at 175? I want to say, what was it? I'll look right again on the alert box. Our buy alert on MOSY was 178. Now, why was that? Because that is the top of this upper shadow at June 9th, which is just a few days ago, right on this top upper shadow. It was also the bottom of this lower shadow back on March 29th. So I said, if we break 178, we should be moving up pretty strong. And that's exactly what happened. So we're breaking not only, this upper shadow, but we're also breaking a pretty tough, bounce area, which was back down on March 29th. and that's where we did get, a lot of big time activity. But notice, right here at 178, we broke through it, went on a nice rip. Where did we come up to? $2 natural resistance. We had a pullback right down towards around 183, and then we got our nice next leg on up. So it was a very nice play on MOSY. It continued out very nicely, and right now it is still slowly climbing. We could possibly see the stock going on a nice climb for the rest of the day, but it all started with the chart pattern. There is predictability that shows it's not a spammy stock. It's not, any sort of pump and dump. It's all from a predictable chart pattern if you're willing to learn it, and that's why we had, such a great alert right there. Now, CLNT. CLNT is a little different. CLNT does have some sort of chart pattern. You could see a nice little trend line that's starting to form. Also, the stock did have some resistance right along that 540 mark, and as I said, we do have some top resistance around that 620 mark, which I was hoping to see today around that 620 mark. We never broke through $6, but why did CLNT rip the way it did? Why did we have a buy alert at 525, 555, 575, all before it ran all the way up to that $6 mark? And that's because CLNT, not chart pattern. What was our first option? Let's look into the actual news on CLNT. So looking at CLNT right here, we enter into an agreement. And again, as you guys already know, keywords to look for in hot press releases. We have the word agreement. This is our list of keywords to look for in hot press releases. And when we have the word agreement, we already know that this stock is probably going to be bringing in a lot of volume. This stock is going to be bringing in a lot of hype. And that's why CLNT had a gap up. One of the best things about CLNT is that we have such a low float at 532,000. Dark blue on our scanners makes it very simple, very easy to see. But we have enters into an agreement with eCrent, which is in China, for sharing economy platform development. So boom, we have our credibility. The stock isn't going to be some random thing. If the stock starts moving on up, we know why the stock's moving on up. Now, what's also great about CLNT? The chart pattern of the past history. Not the actual chart pattern right now. It is on a higher low pattern, which is great to see. But the actual past chart history pattern, where we have spikes that go from $3 up to $10.75. We have spikes from $3.35 up to $5.10, $4 all the way up to $6.85, $4 all the way up to $5.50. It gets traders going, guys. It makes them excited. You see a spike like this, you're saying, wow, if I was in a stock like this right now, I'd be absolutely banking. And traders see this, and they say to themselves, hey, if this thing rips, we could potentially see another big thing like this. That could change my life if I make a big time play on it, if I make a big time, profit. I want this stock to spike, and I think it's going to spike. So I'm going to buy in on this. And that's what a lot of, traders do, which is good because it brings in a lot of momentum for us. It brings in a lot of volume for us, and that's when we can really make some nice, easy profit off of it. Now, something we do want to look at as well is, of course, look at the chart patterns. Now, when we look at the chart patterns, not on the actual patterns, but I'm talking more in detail. Detail as in the chart indicators. Now, as always, we have the 50-day moving average, the 200-day moving average, and then I always like to add the flexible trend line, I like to call it, which is the 13 EMA. So it shows you if the stock is bullish or bearish. So again, anything above it is considered bullish. So we're bullish on the 13 EMA, bullish on the 50-day moving average, and then we have this big window to run all the way up to 355. Also, yesterday we only had a 63 on the RSI. So opening up this morning with only a 63 on the RSI, not considered overbought yet. We do have opportunity to run. Just a very simple thing. It takes a minute to check this out to make sure, hey, are we bullish? Do we have opportunity to run, or are we going to come back on down? So, bullish above the 200-day on CLNT, bullish above the 50-day, bullish above the 13 EMA, and still only a 63 on the RSI. So there's really nothing that can really hurt us on CLNT, that is really above us. The only thing that could hurt us would be old resistance, which would be 620, or natural resistance, which is $6, natural resistance mark. So CLNT, we knew this was a very nice play. So how did we get this play going? And I'm going to put these scanners right back up for you guys. Just when I dragged that over, I took them down. So how did we find CLNT on the certain areas we wanted? What did we do? How did we figure out, okay, this was definitely a potential play for us. This was a play we wanted to look at. This was a play that I thought was going to be a nice big rip. And let me put up these last two scanners, these level 2s again. All right, so we are back and good to go. So CLNT, where did I get the buy alert, the buy mark of 525? You're looking at the highs right here, and you're like, hey, Dek, all I see is this mark right here at around 519. Where's 525 coming out of? 525, first off, is always a natural resistance mark. So 525, first off, is always a natural resistance mark. And also, if we look at pre-market, look at this. we have multiple dashed lines. 525, that's 525 right here. We have 520 right here, 520 right here, 525 right there. So basically, I just summed it up, said 525. 525 natural resistance line. Every 25 cents in the market holds up as some sort of resistance line, and that's where I said, hey, at the break of 525, that's where volume's going to push through, and that's exactly what it did. At the break of 525, and that was because I was looking at pre-market action. But other than that, we did have a high right around 518 and kind of even breaking through 518. We probably were going to just break through 525 anyway. So, you could have looked for a 519, 520, buy. But if you want to just be a little bit safer, wait for that 525 mark to hit, and then you get that nice big rip all the way on up. So again, CLNT, nice low float, bullish on all indicators, credible press release, 65 on the RSI. We have good volume, great past chart history pattern, breaking through a predictable area on pre-market at 525. Then we break through 550. Then we get a little consolidation all the way up near around the $6 mark. It comes back on down. We do start forming this U-shaped pattern. That's when we had our last alert from 575 up towards the $6 sell target before it cracked. Right when CLNT started cracking right here, that's when MOSY started bringing in volume back right here. Now both stocks are low on volume. A CLNT low on volume, MOSY low on volume, and the mob really isn't in the business anymore right here. So the mob really isn't part of this, and now we have to wait for that next possible play. But I always want you guys to see the predictability behind stocks. If you're willing to break it down, if you're willing to take some time and say to yourself, why is the stock moving, or why does the stock have potentially to move, if it's the morning before the market. And that's what I always like to do with you guys every day at 9:05 a.m. That's why we start commentating at 9:05 a.m. because we like to do exactly what we just did. Break down each stock, figure out which ones have the best potential. You know what? NURO, that was a huge stock that a lot of you guys focused on today. I personally didn't like NURO. And why didn't I like NURO? Because it took me 2 seconds to do this. It took me 2 seconds to go to stockcharts.com, type in NURO, and go and see, 416, 50-day moving average. So we open up at 418, boom, drops on down. It's not that hard. It took me 2 seconds to type in NURO and figure out that we are going to be opening up at a 50-day moving average, aka a very strong resistance line. If I type in CLNT, notice we are already above all these marks, so we are good to go. If I type in MOSY isn't above the 200-day moving average, but we have a whole lot of room to run up to it. Going from 150 all the way up to 356. I don't really mind if this gets stuck at 356 because we have about $2 to profit off of it. But it took me 2 seconds to type in NURO and notice, hey, you know what? 50-day moving average right at 416. That's not really going to be a play I really want to get into. And notice right when it opened, we had a quick little pop. 50-day moving average dragged it down, and that's why it's just been a complete red day the whole entire mark. But again, this was a stock with a nice big gap up. A lot of traders were looking at it. Personally, it wasn't my favorite just because of the plain fact that it wasn't predictable enough. There wasn't that credibility. The credibility of the stock being up, it did have a pattern towards it. So that's great to see that we have the credibility, but at the same time, the chart pattern wasn't there. You need everything to line up. Line the stars up and you guys will be making absolute bank. But everything, when you break it down, comes to a predictable level. Every little play comes down to a predictable level if you guys are willing to, put in the time to learn it and put in the time to work for it. So I definitely want you guys to understand that.